A very detailed narrative history of the crisis in Kano. I think the famous statement or saying that history does not repeat itself, that only people did. It's something that we need to, is of great lesson to what is happening currently. You narrated the relationship between Sardauna and the older Sanusi as friends. And then also how the older Sanusi came back to challenge the authority of Sardauna, the crisis which led to his dethronement. And then again, you spoke about the idea that Ganduje. I think Prof spoke about Ganduje feeling inferior in the presence of. Now, if you look at it, you will find that in the same vein, as far as the Sanusi that we know, we need to be dispassionate here, that you looking into the future, the relationship that will exist between the current governor and because Sanusi, who is said to be a postmodern emir, is going beyond the symbolic nature of the Sarauta of the history system, and he's asking for more, and this is of course challenging the authority of the governor, who has the constitutional power to moderate, to elect, to dethrone, as the case may be. So it's not. I think this idea of the resurgence of the Kano identity. So many people are expressing sympathy for Sanusi. I think that it's not for Sanusi, it's the Sarauta itself, the tradition, because that's the identity. The Kano identity, the tradition, not institution. Because if you look at what happened recently, this recent Salah, you find that many people travel out of Kano to other places, and you realize surprisingly that there is a resurgence of Salah festivities in other emirates outside Kano. Even in Ilori, you have Daba, very elaborate Daba. In Bidda, there was a because of the crisis.
Because the issue is so identity is paramount, is important.
It is important, and it's not tied. It's not tied to an individual. Absolutely. It's tied to an institution. Yes. Okay. Kabil, why Kabil come?
I think interesting or impressive presentation about this house, about this country. But my question and comment, my friend, I think now speaks up. But the first one is about the name of Serki. You said it started in Daura. But based on what we read, is during Barbushe, like Serki Kamari, Serki Y, Serki Y. But it does not mean the Serki as a head. What I mean, the name of Serki exists in Kano before that the Bagauda came. This is what I thought, because based on what I read about Barbushe, there's a Serikin Makata, Serikin Ishiri, Serikin
Gijumas,
they call them Serki.
No, not Gijumas,
based on what we read, they call them Serki. And what I thought Barbushe is been maybe 100 years before Bagauda or 200 before Bagauda. What I consider the names that exist for.
Can you round up, please?
This one. And then the last one is you said you narrate what Ado Bayero did, very diplomacy council, but totally solution. What I thought is solve the problem, not the So you be like Ado Bayero. Thank you.
Ahmed. Then say Murtala.
Yes, sir. My own is your question, sir. Based on your discussion, you made mention that Duthe 2, Duthe, Gaya, Rono are autonomous Sarauta system that are under Kano. And we have one house. And do not mention like Ringim, Women and Hadeja, which to me, I don't know the history behind that. They are part of Kano state. Are they autonomous or independent? Are they autonomous like Gaya, Reno, Akara, or they are independent like the Duthe you mentioned?
Murtala. Murtala.
Okay.
Do I answer this one? You say about
Kazauri was a 19th century creation. Hadeja and Gumel was a 18th century creation. And Gumel and Hadeja were not part of Hausa, were not part of Sokoto Kali. Especially Hadeja was, but then it rebelled. It went to Borno Empire. So Hadeja and Gumel were part of Borno's sphere of influence. So they are different. They are different. In fact, the relationship between Kano and Hadeja is that of wars. These issues, these places around the Tauran areas and have been contentious areas. Only diplomatic relationship solves the problem. So you are talking about those ones. Those ones, the relationship are different. They are not part of Sokoto Caliban. They are not part of Kano Kingdom. So, and they are also part of Borno Empire. With regard to the issue of Sarki, you see, the institution of Sarki was introduced in Kano, started in Dora, where the queen, when the issue of Salota emerged, and then the Sarki emerged. But in Kano, it was used during Balbushi. The explanation was just to make the readers understand, especially students, pupils. That's why Hampulki, shine ne shanin magani, kamar shine sarkin magani, kamar shine sarkin magani, shine that is it, but he's not referred to as sarki in that. Then what was the title of Balbushi? If this one was sarkin magani, sarkin, then what of Balbushi? Sarkin power. That's why there was no sarki then. There was no Serki. Only this word Serki was used after the introduction of the title of Serki in Kano, in order to show the role they played prior to the emergence of the Institute of Sarauta system in Kano. The time you are talking, there was no Sarauta in Kano. It was just like a segmentary society. You see, Hamlet of Dala, Hamlet of Golden Duse, Hamlet of Panisau, Hamlet of Magwan, Hamlet of Jigriya, Hamlet of Pangwan. And they only came in order for economic exchange and in a year to meet once in Dala. To meet once in Dala. Each of these hamlets had its own heads of occupation. And even now, sai ka ce sarakunan sana'a ba ka da wani kalma da za ta yi ba za ka ce shugabannin sana'a.
That is the point, sir. That is the point, sir.
But during that time, it was not sarakuna that was used because there was no that word sarki in Kano. No. With regard to you see, in anything, In anything that happens in a society or to individuals, a lesson is learned. Sunusi has learned his lesson. And Sanusi might have noted or may have noted some of the excesses at the time between 2020 or 2021 when he was elected. Or 2019 was this?
No, 2020, sir.
2020 when he was elected. He might have learned, he might have noticed some of these things. If he has not learned anything, then it will be a solution.
He has not.
You cannot.
No, it's recent interview, sir.
No, the recent interview he had, the key message in that interview was that he did not care, or he does not care about being the Serki. What he wants is let him not go on record that it was during his tenure that the territorial integrity of Kano Emirate was dismembered.
Yes.
Once Kano was returned, as Kano as he inherited it from Ado Bayero, let anything happen to him. That was his case.
Question I had wanted to ask. You see, you say Ado Bayero saved himself because of his diplomatic character. But I don't know with regards to the subsequent areas, because it takes two to tango. Why we blame Ganduje for all what he did, and he hardly escaped from that. I believe it's because Sunusi, and possibly, we don't know the reason behind Aminu, because Aminu is just a child of circumstance. He might have been a loyal emir with all his other weaknesses, but simply because he's in a wrong party, he has to go, no matter what. But while we are blaming Ganduje, I think to make history fair, we need to put Sunusi on the radar and analyze it.
That's what I'm
I think
saying.
that's what I wanted.
That's what we said.
Yes, I am happy you did that, sir.
Yes,
I'm happy you did that. Second,
Let him read his point.
so, I'm really impressed by the elephant memory of and I'm serious of this. I just put some stanzas on history, and it reads in Hausa. Kamar nasiba da Hausa zan waka.
Ai ta tana yin Hausa.
Yawa.
Tana yin
To
Hausa.
sunan waka shine tarihi. Zai gaya maka gaskiyarsa, ko kana so ko kana ki. Zai faɗi ka ji har ka dara, zai saka ka kama shauki. Wata ran ya saka ka kuka, yayi kama da irin hayaki. Gaskiya yayin faɗarta ta fi labarin su koki. Ilimi in gaskiya ne ba a samun gun daƙiƙi. Shi fa tarihi daban ne, gunsa za ka fahimci yaƙi. Za ka gane batun siyasa mai sanya faɗan shaƙiƙi. Masu shi yau ke batunsu, ƙyada zancen masu yauƙi.
Ya bar suna kuyangu da wani sarkin ya zo ba zai tafi da su ba.
So I have so many observations. Mine is not actually a question. And as a rider to what Kamilu stated about the word Serki, it is from the legend of Bayajida that we had. Mutijia was called Serki, Makas Serki. But just take the issue of Makas Serki. Is it the right dialect? Makas. Makas. Is it Daura dialect? Yes, they are saying that we gidan Makas Serki. Is it Daura? And again, we have the name of Serki Saraunia, and that Machija, it is not Machiji. Why were they calling it Sarki instead of Sarauniya.
What
What I am saying is, the one has no. I don't have question. I have observations. So it's observations. Sir. And we want to talk about the issue of evolution of societies and then emergence of states. In your dissertation, PhD dissertation, you talk about the evolution of Hausa society, how we have guild chiefs, Sarkin Mahauta, Sarkin, and you said Sarkin Noma is the overall head. So that is what you did, though it is partial, but it is exactly what Bala Usman did in his transformation of Katsina, the emergence of Sarauta system and the establishment of emirate. Or the overthrow of Sarauta system and the emergence of emirates. So I want us to, that word Sarki, the issues are interrelated and interconnected. That Sarki was before in use, before the issue of Bayajid the legend, because all over Kasar Hausa, whatever is at the top, it is Sarki, Sarkin Avinci, Sarkin, all, whatever, whenever you are referring to the topmost or chief of something, you refer to it as Sarki. To me, it is a Hausa word that means Shugaba, the overall. So that is one. Then the issue of history, I always say, Sarauta system in Kano, just like in Katsina, it was terminated in 1807. Kano kingdom disappeared, it vanished, it was destroyed by the Fulani. And it was destroyed.
It was not destroyed.
So what happened? Okay.
Let me finish.
You said headed back. It was headed back that introduced the issue of racism to the history of. Well, I don't know. But better time later said Sokoto Caliphate. I didn't read the work of IDG, but I read the assessment of primary sources carried back in Katsina. And before it, by Bala Usman. Yeah. And even before, because normally I don't want to go to secondary sources, the issue of racial identity during what they call the jihad. Usman Danfodio, read his Najmul Ikwan, read his Rajul Ikwan, he was specifically mentioning ethnic identity. He was mentioning ethnic identities. And even in Kano, sir, they said, and even what you said now, Abdullah Ibrahim said to Ibrahim Musa Gashash,
Good.
you said it, sir.
Good. This I'll give you an answer. You see, you are assuming that the issue of the Bible, digital legend, was as old as Daula itself, or Kano, or the issue of biological legend was not even in many of the sources of history of Hausaland. It first appeared as a subject of discussion in a work started by Mustafa in Raudat al-Akbar of the Ijwal and Sokoto Caliphate. That was when it was first mentioned that there was this issue of biodata, there was this issue from the Tariq al-Arba. And it was Rat al-Akbar that gave it the form it did. And later it was beautified by the colonial historiography. So the issue of saying that there was Sarki, referring, you recited an example saying Daura. Even the Daurama was called as Daurama, not Sarki. It was that snake that was known as Sarki. It was Makashin Sarki, sai ya zama Sarki. Makas Sarki, shi ne ya zama Sarki. But the Daurama was not in Sarauniya, was Daurama. Ita ce shugaban Daura. But was not Sarauniya. It was when Makas Sarki emerged and he inherited the leadership, and it was from him that the Hausa tradition of matrilineal line of succession changed to patrilineal. But we get it. So that was it. The second one, came again.
Are you destroying?
You see, this is another thing. This is another thing which we need to look into, the historiography of Sokoto Caliphate. That's why even my students, when they say there was the Sokoto Revolution, Sokoto Revolution, define to me what is a revolution. What happened with the Sarauta system was that there was only a replacement of the Sarakuna Hausa, Sarakuna Fulani, but all the traditions and culture continued.
Yes.
Then was there any, you are going to say there was a separation between the
Yes,
Kano
the king of Kano was sovereign.
Wait, that's why I say it was, but as emirate, as a governor.
Yes, provincial governor, not king. King was sovereign.
Wait, Dakata, there was Sarkin Kano. Only his power is Sarkin Kano, that's why I get Sarkin Yanka. Sarkin Yanka. Yana da executive powers. But only yana da an yi limiting ɗinsa in appeal to Sokoto on legal issues, on legal matters. But on all other matters, he didn't need except on appointment of principal officers of state, which he needed to consult Sokoto because of fear of outbreak of lawlessness. But in Kaduba, Sarkin Kano, but in Kaduna, Sarkin Kano lokacin da ya zo ya sama Sarki Suleiman aka ba ko, Suleiman found it difficult to rule Kano. In fact, the 15 or 17 years he spent, how many?
12 years.
12 years he spent, virtually tsunami kawai shi Sarkin Kano.
An ba shi ganci ya kai ka kowa ai.
A barin gaba. A gane ko? Out of the reason, in fact, lokacin da suka yi jihadi, they came, sai wanda ya zo ya submission wajen Sarkin Kano, ya ce, wai cikin kuwa yin sarkin ne ana. Sai aka ce, ai gashi nan, sai ya ce haka za ku yi shugabanci Kano? Ba a san ma waye sarki ba? Ya ce, to wallahi ba ku da sarrafa to ga ƙasar ku. Lokacin aka kama gari, wanda aka kwashe garin ƙasa yake ɗiba ya ce to ga ƙasa. And me Dabo ya ce lokacin da me ya rubutawa Bello ya ce Allah dare da ran Modibo, idan dai Kano za ka shugabanta ba tare da ka ɗauko al'adarsu da suka saba da sarauta ba, you will not succeed. Duk shi aka da shi, ka gaya min ka ce an remove this complete. Galadima daga gidan suka kawo. No, I'm coming. Shi ma sarkin title din sarki Emir ne, amma title din sarki aka dauka. Duk bayan sarki da ka sani tun daga lokacin Muhammad Rumfasuru, lokacin da ta zama Sa'il March 11 lokacin Kutumbi. Shi dai aka ci gaba da shi. Ba a canja ba. To ba zancen karikaca ba.
Sir, I have a word aside. Just one information akan Daura. You see, when we talk about Daura, we are talking about period of Bayajid, what the legend is there. But do we know that Daura existed thousands of years even before that?
Akwai sarakuna sun kai kusan
No, before them, Masa. Yes. Before them, because there are evidence. You know, Patrick Danem has been working in Amariawa, and I think about Iron Cement, which is dated 4th century BC. 4th century BC. And similarly, that iron smelting civilization extended up to Daura, to grow in the Amaria Daura itself. We discovered the iron smelting sites in Daura. The whole of that area is an ancient civilization which we don't know much about. No, before that one. And the idea of Michiji is like the idea of, why do we say Pero? Pero emanated from the word house, and it becomes Pero. And a similar house of people have worshipped snakes. Just like ancient Egypt, if you look at their sun, the vulture and the snake, there is that. So it's not just about Sarki is the head or whatnot. It's a long story. So there is much more to it than this.
That's why I keep mentioning kace wai ma akwai revolution na jihad ba wani revolution gaskiya ne ba wani revolution domin in kace revolution to abinda ake yi komai ake canjawa komai is set to change ka gaya min in banda sarautu da fulani suka aro daga kofar na ko abin ka gaya min wani abu sabo introduction a Kano na sarautar fulani.
He said an je wajen Asma'u. Do you know where Asma'u rose? It's because she was replacing the role of Inda of Gobir. That's why Nana Asma'u rose and become to replace the role that Inda was playing.
It's just during the course of these exchanges, some things were addressed. But as well, I was wishing that it was very censored, because we find 1 hour with a very smooth flow in history. You did not make mention of the uprising that led to the formation of Kazauri.
Uprising.
Yeah, there was a rebellion.
A misunderstanding. It was not
a rebellion.
It was a war. It was a misunderstanding. Let me accept. It was a misunderstanding. It was a misunderstanding that was about to degenerate into, which Sokoto at that time would not accept. Saboda haka sai suka tashi ai akan dambata akwai yarimawa an da dan tunkuda su ne suke shugabanci dambata saboda haka lokacin da aka yi jihadi saboda haka suka hada aka yi jihadi a cikin dambata da sauransu saboda haka damo a lokacin Suleiman saboda kana su a bashi goyon baya ba wani problem dan tunkuda yana ci saboda lura da dan bata da sauran areas amma lokacin Ibrahim Dabo sai ya ce dan bata ai kasar sai dan tuko ce ba haka that what led to maimakon su yaki sai Usman dan Kodi da Kulaus ice gashi kowai ba ga game sai ce to ai kai ma an baka tutar saboda haka a zo yasa aka zo aka demarcate to daga area kaza shi ne nan dan bata wannan gada inda kogin nan yake ita ce bangaren kan can kuma aka ɗauko yanki daga Katsina aka ɗauko yanki daga Daura aka hada da ancient village ne nan ka zo sai aka hada sai aka yi kasa
irin dai abin da ganin ce isa abin da ganin da ake mutum da
us about the history of Kano Emirate, the current tussle, even though we have not exhaustively discussed the current crisis. So the House is extending a plea to you, sir, if you can come back in 2 weeks' time, so that we can, the two of you, you from historical perspective, Barrister from the legal perspective, to discuss thoroughly about the current crisis. We will deeply appreciate that.
I'm very sorry, Barrister.
now
Judicial issues in Nigeria soon as they destroy Nigeria.
I see that.
How could the judicial allow itself to be